Mm, mm, mm.
All right,
Mm.
everybody. This is Coach Dennis Stoikia with Modern Air Warriors. Welcome back to another amazing podcast. I have today another amazing person on, as always. So we have Jim Wendler on here, and I cannot tell you how awesome it is for me to have him on because I've been doing his program for almost 3 years now, and I can't wait to have him talk about it. Maybe me tell you about the results that I've received too, age, how old I am too, and being on the program, strength as we age, etc. So lots to talk about today. As always, I got Jim Wendler on, like-minded people doing things that we love. 1% warrior, like all of us here. So hey, Jim Wendler is the creator and author of the 531 training programs. The programs have been used by millions of athletes and lifters of all ages and abilities. Jim played football and graduated from University of Arizona. Awesome, brother. Where he was a three-time letter winner. Wendler went to squat 1,000 pounds in competition and is accomplished elite lifter with a 2,375-pound total. He has coached high school athletes, collegiate athletes. He's trained general populations and spoken globally on topics of strength training, conditioning, fat loss, performance, and program design, which we'll talk about a little bit today too. However, Jim's greatest success is his ability to simplify the complexities of strength training. 100% that is easily seen within the books and how he comes across and the program in general, right? So he is able to simplify the complexities of strength training into the program variations so that anyone can apply them and achieve the goals using the 531 training program. Hey, Jim, thank you so much for being here. Greatly appreciate you
Thank you
for
for
being
having me,
here.
bud.
Anything else you want to add? I try to keep the bio short with the so, but
Uh,
please. Yeah.
I think the last thing is for the last since 2016, my
Mm-hmm.
wife and I have volunteered our strength training knowledge, and we work with the. She works with the junior high football team, and I work with the
Awesome.
high school football team. So we've been doing that. My first off season was after the 2016 season, so 17 season on, we've had tremendous success at London. We're
Mm-hmm.
a small town, and maybe 10,000 people or so, and our football team is, for being a small town in Ohio, unbelievably successful.
Yeah.
We reached the final. We're the only public school to reach the Final Four. Uh,
Awesome.
we've had one D1 athlete, FBS athlete, since I've been there. So we don't have a ton of.
Mm-hmm.
We have good kids, good talent, but not. Kids aren't crazy, but
Yeah.
they're. We do a good job. We have a filter system basically from 7th, 8th grade all the way to their senior year,
Mm-hmm.
and we train 50 weeks out of the year, if you can believe that.
Awesome. Yeah, I do.
So that's
Yeah.
been that, and I love doing stuff for my community. I like being
Mm-hmm.
useful instead of just being selfish, like
Cool.
I was for the first 35
Yeah.
years of my life. So,
And we spoke real quickly too, right? I told you that for how old I am and
mhm.
kind of how we programmed things back then, very different, so different, and did not get people strong anywhere near what your program does. So I very unbelievably fortunate that your community has you, it has your wife, has your knowledge. We've looked the strength training in general, right? Since like the 1980s to today, such a difference, and program is so different too, right? We have athletes doing things that just I don't know, like no one ever thought we could probably do, right? So, and that comes back to some of that strength and some of that strength being quickness,
Yeah,
etc. So,
I will
hey,
probably, before we get on, I will probably
yeah,
say this. When I first started with the high school, I had been away from high school for a long time, obviously. What we do now is not just strength training, because the kids' general physical preparedness is fucking low, beyond low, beyond low.
GPP, yeah, GPP, and we're
So
right. It's
essentially, what we are gym teachers that teach some strength stuff, and so
awesome.
we go well and beyond. And one of the things, my first day, that first Monday, we ran after we lifted. We run year round, and the running volume, I couldn't believe how little they can handle.
Wow.
And it was so after that day, of course, I backed
Hmm.
off and stuff, and I was like, oh my God, because I wasn't exposed to this. My experience was 1993, 1991. So long story short, I asked 5 different strength coaches, 2 in the NFL and 3 in major college. And I said, hey, that were a little bit older, said, hey, your running volume and stuff like that, is it lower today than it was in 1985? And I asked all this separately, and they said it is, we could do maybe like a fifth of what we could do back in the day.
Wow.
So it's you have to understand that while our knowledge of strength training has gone up, our general fitness has gone incredibly low. Now, before anyone says anything, there's always going to be these outliers, these Myles Garrett's, these Nick Chubbs, where you look at them and they look like absolute freaks. That's not
freak athletes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I am working with the average dude. And so the longer that I've been doing this, and not just with the high school, with everything, I realized that those guys, I hate to say this, don't matter because I don't coach them. It doesn't matter what you do because they're going to be I watched a all-pro NFL guy train, and it was so fucking bad. Like, if I brought that to our high school, to some of our kids who had been in the program, like, what the hell are we doing? This is stupid. Like, they would know. Maybe not inherently. They were like, I don't know. And I watched him play, and I was like, oh my God, like there's no way the training is responsible for his greatness. Doesn't mean that training's not important for him, but it's less important. The more average or below average you are, the more important it is that you have a solid training program. And that's essentially what we've done. So we obviously, yes, we want to get stronger. We want to put on muscle, but it's much broader than that, especially in this day and age. So it's important to remember that.
Yeah. I get that, and one of the things I think is extremely important, Jim, is the basics, right? Your program is a basic program. You even say it's a basic program, right? Yeah. And the basics done well, though, over time are mastery. They're advanced. I've always said that my entire life. Totally believe it. Things that can be done simple daily, right? It means that I am doing them daily. And you even in your book, you say, hey, if you're going to go in there and just do one of the 4 major lifts and go and leave, leave, at least you've done something for the day too, right? So, well,
something I stress year round. I did it. What is today? Friday. On Wednesday, I said the thing that separates our team from everyone else is every team squats, benches, pulls, whatever, push-ups. We just do it better than anyone else. We do it to a fucking standard. That is, I will hold you accountable, and we will do it consistently better. Like my wife says, consistency is a superpower. Awesome. So we will train, and I don't add, like I tell the kids, listen, my goal is not to kill you today. My goal is to get you a little bit better. We're going to have some fun. We'll bust chops a little bit, but we always stack days. That's all we're doing. We're not trying to stack them high. We're trying to stack them wide.
Yeah.
Because the wider your base of fitness, the taller you can, taller
you can be. You have the bases. The base is where you need to be, right? Yeah,
yes.
100%.
Now, all of it,
to be stronger, right?
Wider the base, the taller the pyramid, so to speak.
100%. All right, man. Who is Jim Wendler? I ask everyone that comes on this question. What's your why? Purpose, passion, and principles. You can have more than one in life, and those things. Those things can change over time too.
Yeah, but it definitely changed. Listen, like there's, I guess 3 things. 2 of them are probably related. I have 2 kids. Love my kids. Love being the dad. I'm not always the best dad, but I fucking try, and I spend time with my kids. Whether it's my oldest son's in college, we talk every day. We do challenges, physical challenges over the phone if we can't be together because he lives in Arkansas. Well, goes to school in Arkansas. And then I have a young son who's 8th grade. Totally 2 different kids. And I love them, love them to death. So that's number one of them. The other one is like I'm married. I got been married and divorced. So I've been married twice, and I found my forever wife. We've been together since September 30th, 2010. We've never fought or raised our voices to each other because I realized, like, listen, I know what I want. I know what I don't want. Maybe it's I know what I don't want. And so the minute I met her, I told my buddy, I'm going to marry this girl. I saw her in New York City, I believe, or Connecticut. I don't know, somewhere out east. I was doing a seminar, and I saw her at a Starbucks, and I'm like, dude, I'm marrying this chick. And so, I was just not always the best husband. I think I've remembered her birthday once. And I remembered her birthday came, and I found out, and I was like, oh my God. And she said, listen, I'd marry you for a fucking birthday gift. Like, you're fine. Like, I'm not going to get upset. Like, we have a great life. And I was like, see, that's a solid woman. So I'm very appreciative of her. Every time she walks out the door, I tell her how much I love her. I said, thank you. With all my kids, I tell them how much I appreciate them, and they're doing a good job. So, and then number 3, and I guess we could do this to lifting, is everyone has a circle of influence that they have. For example, mine is bigger than some of my neighbors because, I'm on the internet a little bit. I've sold a ton of books. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
My goal is just to make whatever I can a little better place. So if that means, and I'm going to tell you, this drives me nuts, is whenever someone, I go through McDonald's and get a cheeseburger, I don't follow a perfect diet, I say thank you and I appreciate you guys working today.
Yeah, always, right? Hey, Jim, I'm the same way. They're
painfully polite.
100%,
because
right?
that, they might, even if they're shitty to me, I'm like, I appreciate it. Thank you guys. And that little nub of niceness might help them out. And like, I am appreciative because I don't want to fucking do that. I don't want to, serve food.
Yeah, genuinely from the heart, right? 100%.
Yeah.
Too. It's just the person you are, and that's a giving person, like to what you do to the sports teams that you're a part of, too, right? To your kids, to your wife, etc. So, the business, right? The 531 training program, simplest. We already kind of said it, right? Simplest, most effective, right?
I remember I remember where I was when I came up with that tagline, because I was getting the cover done, and my guy's like, dude, you got to come up with some kind of byline. I'm sitting there, I was like, you know what, let's do this. And I hung up the phone. I was like, oh my God, is that nice? I mean, there's a lot of,
it's factual, Jim. It's factual.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the reason I talk about why I wrote that book. And all my books, the 531 books anyway, I wrote as if Mason, my oldest son, was reading them. So I would write something down. I'm like, Mason trains with me, but he's not like a fucking meathead like me. So I'm like, how can if Mason reads this when I'm dead, will he understand exactly what I'm trying to say? And then you start freaking out because before I wrote those books, Dave and I had the Elite FTS Q&A. I worked at Elite FTS for a long time. The amount of questions we would answer, it was up to like 400 or 500 a month, each of us. It's a lot of questions. So I got exposed to like things I took for granted. And you're like, dude, I got asked at a seminar one time. I spoke it was like an hour and a half. I was speaking 15 minutes. Someone raises their hands like, hey, what's a set and a rep? And I was like, oh my God, like, this is what I have to think about. So anything that came up, I said, will Mason understand this? So the point of the book is, this is what I would have wanted when I was 13 years old. I was obsessed with getting stronger. I was obsessed with training. Like, I haven't done anything since, I have other hobbies, but this is all I think about. And I'm like, what would have, I was one of those kids or people really that I always say I'd be really good middle management in the Army. I don't want to be the general, but you give me 20 guys, we'll get up the hill. Just give me a goal and I will get there any way possible. So that's I wanted things like, on Monday, you're going to do this and this at this weight. Just tell me what to do. I'll supply all the effort and attitude. That's all you have to give me, is effort and attitude. That's my dad yelling in my ear, effort and attitude. And that's what I wanted. So I wanted something that would give me exactly what to do. Now, just so everyone understands, prior to this, I trained, obviously, I was in college, so you had workout sheets, but when I basically through high school and after I left and was training, everything you had to do yourself. Like, there was I trained at Westside, but Louis had a, max effort day dynamic, but everything was like, you better figure it out. So I had to do a lot of thinking, and at some point I'm like, I'm done thinking. I just want to be given the black and white, so to speak. So that's kind of why I wrote it. And I essentially wrote it for listen, if you're willing to follow the principles, have a little bit of intelligence here and there, you just got to do this, and you have to supply that effort and attitude.
So for someone that doesn't know what the 531 program is, right? It's about a few major lifts, right? Getting them done. So squat, military press, bench press, the deadlift,
Yes.
and then assistance exercises
Yes.
that go along with the programming, right?
So essentially, we give you the main lift. Let's just say the bench press. We give you a 4-week program with each weight, each 3 sets each weight is programmed perfectly for you. So you warm up. First set, I got to do X reps with X weight. Second set, and then there's a third set, and there's tons of variations that I've written about. But essentially, it gives you a blueprint for the most important lifts, which are the core lifts. That doesn't mean you don't push your assistance and work hard, but you're given some latitude. And the assistance allows, for example, a 40-year-old police officer some variation versus a 16-year-old pipe hitter. So that gives you some wiggle room on what to do, or if you're an in-season athlete or an out-of-season athlete. So this allows you to vary that, but the meat stays the same. You know, the French fries,
the big lifts are staying the same. Yep. And you have differences for splits that are in the book too. People can cut. Jim, I do my strength training twice a week. I superset. So I'm doing bench and deadlift at the same time, and squat and squats and pull-ups at the same time. I think for 2026 I may change it a little bit, where I'm squatting and doing my bench the same day. We can chat more about that when we're offline a little bit. I think I'm going to change it a little bit, right? Because it's good to change a little bit. But I would like to talk about the periodization a little bit too, because you mentioned 4 weeks, like you're on it for 4 weeks. So and you already kind of hit that. There's some variations, and maybe people won't follow it 100%. So when I go on my strength period for the year, I will go for 12 weeks. So maybe that's too much. Maybe you're going to tell me, hey, that's crazy. But I'm also a 2-day athlete because I do HIIT workouts 2 days a week, and I'm also doing BJJ 2 days a week. I'm doing Krav Maga 2 days a week, right? So that's where I'm devoting my strength, right? Strength. But periodization, if you can talk about periodization in what you're looking at for the people, not just the athletes, right? Anyone coming into this, right? What they would look like. Is it a year-long program, or do they need to be doing something else after they do some strength for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever that might be?
So I'm a big believer in concurrent training. So everyone understands what concurrent training is. It is the rising of multiple abilities at once. As an example, we use it on the football team. Our goal is to get stronger, faster, put on muscle, be better conditioned, improve our jumping, all this stuff, instead of doing blocks. Does this make sense?
Yep.
I don't believe in block. Block training is fine if you've been training for 20 years, you're an elite pole vaulter, okay? But none of the people I work with and most people who read my stuff, they're not elite pole vault or whatever elite athlete you are. So yes, you can, how do I put this? All those things in a general strength training program, you should have some type of strength and some type of like hypertrophy work in there. How you do that, one might be 8 and one might be 2 and one might be 5 at a certain time and one might be 5. Does that make sense? So there might be at different levels, but you can't lose abilities. Buddy Morris talks about this. Anyone who's worth anything understands that as an example, our athletes sprint year round. We have to sprint or we fucking lose. Sorry. We train our asses off during the season. Okay. We squat, we trap our deadlift and we bench. We always maintain that. Now, not every workout's great, right? Especially during the season. You know what I do? We back off. We don't have to be great every week. We have to. So we auto-regulate everything. As an example,
your program though, just again, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, but your program. No, you're good. Pump is great, man. Fantastic. I was about ready to say it myself. The same word. Oh, good. Hey, but your program's built so that 4th week is a deload week.
Deload week
too, right? And so, so what I'm hearing from you say to me, right? You're saying, bro, Dennis, you're saying, no, my program is a year-long life. It's a lifelong sustainable thing, right? Because you are incorporating. And Jim, this has been a question for me to ask you because I've been doing it for 3 years, and you want to know what I've done for 3 years?
What's that?
I typically, so
I'm going to laugh because I already know what you're going to say. So go ahead.
So I have a hard time leaving it, right? And so I will do it heavy I will do it heavy for 3 months, but after the 3 months, instead of using barbell for like the bench press for a while, I will go to use dumbbells. I will use dumbbells. So I'm basically using the same program. I just changed the implement a little bit to do some dumbbell work instead. That's the change, period. I'm pretty much doing the same thing all year round. I just changed the implement because you know as well as I, lifting throwing up 300 pounds on the bench press is very different than throwing up 200 pounds on dumbbells. It just is, right?
Here's the best thing I can tell you is when I was at my strongest, maybe a week before a meet, that meet week. I can't maintain this level. Just like I'll give an example. I was very lucky to see Andy Bolton pull the first 1,000-pound deadlift, 1,003 pounds. We were in New York. Andy Bolton's not deadlifting 1,000 pounds all the time. So just bear with me. He's maybe 850 if he's lucky, 85% or so, 80, somewhere in there. Doesn't mean he's deadlifting 850, but he has that capability. So are we clear on this? So with the higher you get, just like elite track sprinters, they're not running 9.5s all year round. They have to build. Now, when you get older and you have this training background, you can only maintain, let's say your best deadlift right now is 500 pounds. You may work up to that in a 6-week block. Listen, I'm going to really push the pulls. The rest of the time, we just bring that training max down. All of our reps are fast. They're solid. I'm not killing myself because the barbell giveth, but the barbell taketh away. That's something I've learned. So what we do is our training maxes are fucking painfully low, brother. Like if you saw it, you're like, oh my God, but I want every rep to be perfect all the time, whether or not you got the flu, you're feeling good. Because if you're feeling good, then we can go ahead and push. If not, we're just going to have a solid day. And then we just do our assistance work, and that's where we get our pump in. That's
I did my last maxes were just a few weeks ago in December, about mid-December, and on the deadlift, I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good. And I pumped it up 50 pounds.
There you go.
I went up 50 pounds. I didn't get it, but Jim, I felt like
should have done 100 pounds because you could say you went up 100 and the same result.
But I get what you're saying. Like if you're feeling good, like hit a little extra, right?
So
your body will know. You'll know, right?
Yes, and if you have the opportunity to train someone one-on-one, the people I work with here, we have the same training max almost all year round. But you know what happens when they're good? We start working up. But a lot of times they're just where they are. We're just having a good day. But the days we just take it. If they have a great day, we will take advantage of it. They'll put on, a huge bench press. But that's the one thing. That's why we use a nice light training max. So you can account for good days and you can push harder when you have bad days. But the key is I never want someone to go in. You know how that is. You're looking at your sheet. You're like, are you kidding me? Dude, I can't even do like a half of this. Like I want people to have success because the one thing, this is just training young athletes. This is with anyone, but especially young athletes. And when I say athletes, not all of them are like athletes. They're just kids who want to play football. Is young men who are 13, 14, 15 years old. My goal is to give them physical challenges that allow them to conquer them that I know that they can do, but aren't going to kill them.
Yeah. Hey, I got to jump in there too, because your book is very specific to this. And I want all listeners, people that haven't read the book or understand or try the program, right? So Jim is starting you at, it's not even 100% of your max. It's like 90% of your max is where he starts you at as far as what he says is your max, right? So the program couldn't not be any more safe.
Yes.
Right. Done safe. And it's about very slow progression. Move up 5 pounds. It is a slow progression, hence making it a lifelong, year-long program too that you can consistently do as well. So for those that don't know about the program.
Yeah. Yep. So we use what's known as a training max. Now that I'm going to tell you, this is going to blow your mind. And I know people still don't believe it. I had a friend of mine who's a strength coach. I'm like telling you, dude, just do it. See what happens. He's had the same success. Our training maxes allow you to get about 15 reps on the squat and deadlift on your final set. Now think about this. So As an example, we had a group of kids who had the same training max. I like to do that and like to pair them up as long as they're, obviously pretty close. Their final set on deadlift for 8 weeks was 265, their heaviest set. We had every kid who did that deadlift 315 to 365 for 15 reps when we tested. The heaviest weight they handled, again, was 265 pounds.
Wow.
And because our standards, our reps they're not just deadlifting. I'm going to show you. They're not just doing this. 1, 2, it's fucking hold. 1, I probably look like an idiot. I'm super passionate about that. So all the reps are controlled and explosive on the way up, control on the way down. And we don't kill them. I just want good days. Long story short, and we pound the shit out of the assistants. We tested after, I don't know, it might've been longer than 8 weeks. And I mean, smoking weights you couldn't even imagine. And they're like, how is one of the kids?
How's that possible? How's it possible to move up so much weight? Yeah, when I'm only working out with 265. Yeah, because the goal of training is not testing that day. The goal is just to have a really good day. And we're building again. Remember, we build this base here. There's my hands. And it's not the accumulation of strength doesn't happen just because you put weight on the barbell. It's because you did the activity correctly. Yeah.
I am telling you, I have seen crazy shit happen. And I know it's not just the lighter that I trained and the more consistent I was, the stronger I got. And even I'm sorry, I'm getting off. So
you're good. We're getting close on time already. We do this. It's always a 30-minute coffee talk, so it's digestible. Okay. We're gonna go over a little bit, and as long as I keep on a little bit, awesome too. So and it's totally fine. Love it, right? But I want to move a little bit because I have my own opinions with regards to this, and everyone does, right? Everyone does. So hey, thoughts on other programming, CrossFit. My friend Mark Devine put out Seal Fit. If you're familiar with what that is, right? He's friends with CrossFit and part of his program, actually his strength training program, right? I mean, well, my personal 2 cents is CrossFit's strength portion of their program, right? And Seal Fit's strength portion of their program follows very close to what you're doing, right? With regard to a few sets and reps, but my 2 cents, I'll give you mine as long as I'm asking you to share too, and ask what I don't believe in these programs being lifelong sustainable things for people. Okay.
It's random chaos, my friend.
It's random chaos. It is programmed. Your program in your book, the way it's laid out, is for everyone. When you go to the CrossFit gym, the workouts are on the board, whether you're 5'4" and 100 pounds, or whether you're 6'4" and 250, right? Now, there's obviously they're going to have different weights for you and stuff, right? Yes. But when I talk to PTs and chiropractors, right, the amount of injuries that we're seeing from other places like this, right, are extensive. So, love your thoughts on how other programs and how your program compares injuries, things of that nature too.
We've had a lot of issues with CrossFit because they've stolen and used my shit. We've had a lot of issues with them. Not with HQ or anything like that, but with different CrossFit gyms. And so it kind of soured me quite a bit. Yeah. Like, listen, I'm going to tell you, there's not a single, I've said this before, the more average you are, the more important good, solid, consistent training is. And to me, that's just working hard, which is great. It'll work for a little bit. But if you want sustainable awesomeness, you have to have some kind of plan. It doesn't have to be the most complex plan like you're in a Russian weightlifter program. But I'll give you an example. If I have my young son, when we first started training, we trained to his daily readiness and his abilities that he was able to. Now, completely different. But there's no way he can do the same thing as the kid I trained, the football player who's an absolute machine. It's not, and the variables within the people that go there are so wide that I can't believe. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have some strength work, right? And some conditioning work, but it has to be done in the right dose with the right form. Not everyone needs to power clean. I'll give you an example. We don't power clean at the high school. There's no way. I have one of me and 60 kids, and there's no way I can get these kids to do it. And the other thing, I'm going to tell you this: if you can't do 20 pull-ups, what are you doing? Like, we need to have a good base of fitness. There's a lot to go in, but it's just too random. And I need something as a coach that allows me to have markers all the time. And not every workout, I'm telling you this, people think not every workout needs to be Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
Very rarely do we at the high school ever do anything that's crazy, because you can't go back.
My 2 cents here too, right, is like I get a lot of Navy SEAL friends too, and when they were younger and in the SEALs too, they did a lot of that craziness, but that's also pushing mental toughness, emotional resiliency. There's other things associated with the workout, and I know these persons today in their 50s, right, and as they've aged, they might go from doing those types of things 5 days a week to eventually down to 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Not that they don't do some of those things still, right? But the body can't. They're doing other things like yoga and working out differently too. They have adjusted, right? They've adjusted as well. That was a period of time in their life when they were doing things like that too.
I will counter this to the day I die. The idea that you need to do, well, first of all, when people say like the SEALs go through buds, they're all fucking hurt. Everyone,
absolutely. They come out. Absolutely. They're all coming out.
Number two is, it has been my experience my goal as a coach, we're supposed to win football games. We're going to have a bunch of pipe hitters out there. But honestly, my overall goal is I want the kid to get physically better and to hopefully train the rest of his life. So hold on. You do not build that kid's not coming back with a great attitude if you fucking put his dick in the dirt. You know what you do? Again, you give them small challenges.
Small wins, right?
Yeah. What's that?
Small wins.
Small wins, and we're stacking. That's how you build mental toughness. Because that kid, when he walks through the door and he's a freshman, he's got his head down, versus a senior, he's walking up like, you guys want to fight? Who's fighting? That is how you build mental toughness, is you give them the opportunity to succeed on a basically daily level. And again, if I said to you something like, listen, we're going to do a bench press, and I'm like, and I could see, I'm like, dude, you can get 8 here. What? 8? And you're like, honestly, you could probably get 30, but you don't know that. Yeah. And that just builds and builds and builds. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah. I call it knocking down the dominoes when I coach, right? Yeah. You knock down one, and then what happens? It's the consistency thing, right? Knock down one, they're all gonna start going too, right? And one of the things for me, I will just piggyback on what you said, right? There's a difference between being in a Navy SEAL, a Marine like I was for a few years, and doing that for your country. I have moms and dads, IT people, right? The regular people, not crazy, athletically crazy. We teach mental toughness, emotional resiliency, and what we do too. People are gaining that from you. Those kids are getting that from you in your program as well too, right? But you gotta. It has to be done in such a way that they come back tomorrow.
Yes.
That they're not hurt. That they can continue to play ball. That they want to play ball. It's fun, right? So when you can make the fun awesome, you're going to come back and you do it as a team, especially for football, right? They're doing it as a team, or in my dojo as a team, as a group, right? Because and that is nothing better than enjoying the suck with your team, right? So when things get tough too, it's part of that thing. So hey, tell us about you have a different training program. So if you can explain maybe briefly to everyone too. There's the 531 book, the 531 powerlifting, Beyond 531, 531 Forever. If you can tell us a little bit about the differences in the books, the training programs, etc.
So just so everyone knows, when I came up with the idea of the 531 program, the book came out in 2010. It probably started in 2008 because I didn't know how I was going to do all this. So over the years, I've improved, varied, made changes. The root stays the same. The principles remain the same, but I've been like, listen, we can probably riff on this idea, and depending on what your goal is or how strong you are, and whatever, there's a lot of things. So every book basically gives you a different idea on how to use those base principles and then kind of go off and do something else. The powerlifting book is specific to 1 rep maxes, which is a skill, right? Mm-hmm. The Beyond book is an extension of the original book. Mm-hmm. Again, takes those ideas. And then the Forever book gives you an idea how to long-term program various different training things in a smart way. And those are generally 3 cycles or 4 cycles long. It's very short because I don't believe in like long-term programming because there's no way I can predict anything. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So that gives you an idea. So all of those build on them. I've never ever written a book for money. I've done it all because I'm like, these ideas are solid. They've worked, and everything, even in the Forever book, every single thing I've done myself, or I've worked with people, and we've twisted and nipped
Awesome.
things.
Hey, I love to see that as a coach too. Forever and a day, I've told people I'm never going to ask you to do something I haven't.
No.
Right. So I can tell your passion for what you do is amazing.
Yeah.
It comes out talking to you today. It's crazy there, right? That you love what you're doing. You do it because you're good at it, and you have a huge effect on so many people doing it too.
My heart rate is racing right now. I can talk all day. Just real quick, if you are a coach or a trainer, I tell this to anyone. They always ask me how to get your kids to buy in. Those kids, I live in town. We live in a small town. I push the prowler for a mile around my neighborhood. It's one of the most miserable things, but I want those kids to understand I am asking the same discipline I expect out of myself. I'm up early. I'm doing shit because
I refer to that, Jim, as eating your own dog shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, right?
And I might not be able to bench press a lot anymore, but you know what? I just, for 7.5 months, I did a Murph every day. I want to, awesome. This fucking sucks.
So anyway. We're gonna move towards closing here. I have a lengthy answer to this question. I'm going to kind of throw out the answers, trying to maybe real quick, or at least a few of them. But you have some training rules to being awesome. I think it's an awesome way to finish being awesome, right? And so, strength training 2 to 4 times a week. Commit to increasing your strength in the big 4 movements, right? And that will carry over to all other areas that you have lifting. 100% agree. You're going to condition like a man 2 to 4 days a week. You'll stretch hard, strength train in the weight room, and condition on the track. Kind of what you said already. Right? I don't need fly-by-night gadgets to get strong, or I call it the latest shiny object personally. Is kind of what I refer to that comment on when I talk about that. You're going to strive to have a great workout on the main lifts and a good workout on the assistance lifts. Fantastic, right? Because that's what's going to matter the most. Don't get sidetracked on the latest and greatest training programs. Kind of almost a repeated gadgets versus training programs, like the shiny object to me, right? You strive to eat well, be patient. It's a lifelong pursuit. What is there? I don't know if there's one, or they're all amazing, right? And so I don't know if there's one or two that you really want to hit on a little bit. The one is very general, over encompassing all of it, right? Be patient. It's a lifelong pursuit. Consistently, just do, right?
So there's a couple things. One is, regardless if you're an NFL football player, me and you, like regular dudes, or my mom who's 70. She's 30 years old, Mom. Listen, you got to have some kind of resistance training, right? I don't care what it is, but it's got.
Jim, I'd argue even more for those people that haven't done it in their lives as they get older. It's, to me, significantly in order to be able to move and get up, right?
But I don't care. Like, people ask me, like, I'll give you an example. So just hold on. You have to have some kind of strength training. Don't care what you do. You have to have some kind of conditioning, and you have to have some kind of mobility and flexibility. How those are done, and a pro athlete will have to do a lot more. But those 3 things, those 3 pillars should be in your training. You might lift 2 days a week now. An 18-year-old can lift 4 days a week, whatever. It doesn't matter. And how you do the strength training, I'll give you an example. I always love making fun of the kettlebell crew. I think kettlebells are fine for assistance, but when I remember when kettlebells came out, it was like, listen, you're going to die if you don't use kettlebells. It's the greatest thing. I'm like, they're a good tool. But anyway, the point is, if you want to use kettlebells and that's what you love to do, do it. I do not care.
I use them in my HIIT workouts. I don't think it's a good strength training tool, but I believe it's an amazing tool for HIIT workouts.
It's not the most efficient way to get stronger, but it's something. Okay. So I think everyone needs to have those 3 things. What those entail will be determined 100% by your preparedness and your readiness. So just so we're clear, I think more important, and we talk about consistency being a superpower. Especially with the new year coming around, I always tell people you should when you make your new goals, whether it's New Year's goals or whatever, be reasonable. Everyone can listen. 2 days a week, that's all I'm not asking to lift 5 days a week and get sore. Let's just have 2 solid workouts a week. Let's go for a 3-mile walk 4 days a week. And let's do a yoga program on YouTube for 10 minutes a day. So I think that needs to be understood. And I think people underestimate how quickly they will make progress if they're consistent with the food and the sleep and the training. You're not going to look like Brad Pitt right away, who doesn't age, by the way. He's stopped aging at like 42 years old. But you will, if you're consistent and patient, the progress will come quicker. I'm telling you, it's a weird thing. And I say that to the kids. Let's not worry about what weight's on the bar. Let's worry about good reps. All of a sudden, 6 months later, like, oh my God. I'm like, huh? Yeah. Amazing what happens when you do things right. The other thing I will say, and I've always knew this, but I really saw it with the high school kids I'm working with. Our barbell lifts, they have to be fast. That doesn't mean my fast might be different than your fast, but we have to push hard and fast and controlled. All right. I don't want it like this. I want every rep solid. Now we push the assistants pretty hard because, as you know, if you fail on the bench press, there's consequences a lot of times, right?
Yep.
If we fail on the push-ups, what happens? Nothing.
Nothing. You fall 3 inches to the floor. No big weights falling on you. You're not busting out your shoulder.
Yeah. So what I tell the kids, we want to athlete the barbell and bodybuild the assistants. So we give the kids like, listen, we're going to do this and this. You guys just go many reps. We need to put on muscle. I'm telling you right now, I know this is off kilter, but if you have a young athlete, the most important thing you can do besides overall fitness is you got to put muscle on these kids.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're bodybuilders.
So I like to look at it this way too. I've had people come into my business, right, that look amazing. Like when I say amazingly in shape, like an 8-pack, ripped everywhere. They're the bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Right. They're not the power lifter. They're not the martial artist. They're not the hit guy. And then we do things like, I'm sure your football players do burpees. You call it what you want.
Calisthenics.
They're throwing themselves to the ground at some point and getting back up. Right. So, you get people that are amazingly in shape like that, but they have no functionality.
Yes, but I'll tell you this.
I'm not saying don't get me. I want to make sure I'm clear here, right? That's these people that being the crazy bodybuilder and not doing your program or whatever else, right? They just can't function. They can barely. They're used to sitting on machines and working one muscle at a time versus the whole body movement, a compound movement like a squat or a deadlift, right?
But I will counter with this. I can get that guy in shape in 2.5 weeks. It's going to take 7 years to get that kind of muscle on another human being.
Okay. Yep,
so,
I got you.
Like everyone knows who Louis Simmons is. The Bosu ball shit was going around when I was at Westside, and Louis once said, "I can teach anyone in here to balance on a Bosu ball in a week. How long is it to everyone squatting 900? You know how long that takes? So there's that. And the problem is I can take a kid with maybe might be a little out of shape. We can get him in decent shape in 4 weeks without smoking him. Yeah. But I'm not going to get that kid who deadlifts 500 pounds. So there's
my program I have to start now. I call it the 7-day transformation for people that aren't doing
we
whatever.
Call it 52 weeks out.
52 weeks out. Nice. Day by day.
But there is, but the most, so just so we understand, this is what we call concurrent training, because if that guy, the bodybuilder guy, did 2 days of 10 minutes of some kind of calisthenics.
Yeah, he's moving it.
That's it. So I'm not asking you guys to spend 60 minutes doing our weight training workouts with the kids who have super high GPP. We might get, if you saw the shit we did in 30 minutes, you'd be like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you get in shape. We can start pushing some insane weights being handled for them. But it doesn't take a ton. And I don't know what your reader base is, but let's say you get a bunch of meatheads on there and they need to lose, they're at 28% body fat. You don't need to be 15 tomorrow. Let's just go let's go for a walk every day. And then we'll start building on that. So
100%. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter whether the 7-year-old mother who's 30 now or
dude, my parents still trap bar deadlift. I mean, you talking like fucking, going after it.
I love when I'm seeing older people in the gym that are older than me even, right? And they're killing it. I mean, and I'm doing amazing things at my age, and because people think I'm 40.
You look great. Right? But it's your fucking hair, dude. You're killing me. I got nothing.
But I see people in the gym, they're 70, 80. I will go up to them and have a conversation too. And I'm like, hey man, you're killing it. I hope I'm like you someday. I hope I'm able to continue to do what I'm doing at whatever level that might be. Right. So, hey, we're going to close out here. I want to know from you, how can someone learn more about you, your programs, etc.? Share your website, anything you want to share with them.
All right. You can find us at www.jimwendler.com. We have all our books on Amazon. I'm on Instagram. We post every Friday. I do a live stream. Just right before I got on with you, I did my weekly live stream. You can ask questions. All I do is sit down just like this, and I take whatever question. I have a band of the week because I'm hugely into music. And when I say hugely, you have no idea. Like I have my whole basement's filled with recording equipment and music stuff.
Awesome.
So we do that. It's light. We have a good group. We have a paid forum. It's $5 a month. Keeps all the riffraff out. We've been doing this, I want to say, since, I don't know, maybe 2013. It is an awesome group of dudes. Some older guys, some coaches, some younger guys, and we have a ton of wisdom. No politics is allowed. So there's no like, did you see what happened? I'm like, no, we're done. You get booted. If anyone acts up, we've only had one guy we had to boot off. It is this is what forums, you've been around for a while. You remember how forums
used to be.
Then it went south real quick.
Yeah. So I've had a couple of comments already. There's a chat that is allowable on my on this too, by the way, and I have deleted 4 comments already. So
they're already pissy.
They have nothing to do. They have nothing to do with what we're even talking about. They're people being madness, right? All good. Hey, thank you so much. I'm gonna ask you to hold for a second so I can talk to you for just a couple minutes offline and say thank you very much. But hey, everybody, you know the drill, right? Hey, train hard, train smart, train safe, train real, and train for life. We'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.